seconds, starting first with our bicep curl. And again, I'll show what it looks like with the band for anyone. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. We've got our regular bicep curl for the next 30 seconds. Let me up the volume here so you guys can hear the timer. So 30-30, no rest, 3 rounds, going back and forth between these two exercises. Good. Moving into our tricep extension. 3, 2, 1, here we go. So you can either go into our regular tricep extension, or if you'd like to try, you can go into your overhead tricep extension. If you are doing the overhead, which is a little bit more advanced, make sure you're not flaring your elbows behind you, but also you don't have to keep your elbows and pinch your head, right? So you're keeping them close, but they don't have to touch your head, keeping you in a good, uncompromising position. Back to our bicep curl. Bicep curl, 30 seconds. Trying to create all the movement from our elbow, so you can allow the elbow to come forward a little bit in front of the shoulder and really just focus on getting your pinky to the outside of your shoulder. Pinky to the outside of your shoulder. Good. Switching here into our tricep extension. Here we go. So I'm using the band today. This is what you would do if you have a band. Good. So you can either go into our regular tricep kickback or the overhead. Good. Tricep kickback. Make sure no momentum. Perfect. Getting parallel arms, pushing out and away. Overhead, keeping the elbows close, dumbbells touching. Good. Back into our bicep curl for our last round here of 30 seconds. Good. Focusing pinky to the outside of our shoulder. Good. Halfway done. First exercise, round 3. Into our tricep extension. Here we go. Good. Finishing up. Halfway done, halfway done. Good. On either the kickback or the overhead, limiting your momentum. Good. All from the elbows. And finished. Finished with our first cluster of exercises. We're gonna move right along into our next one. Starting the countdown timer here from 10, right into our chest press. So if you've got the dumbbells, holding the dumbbells together. Remember, you can always push your back against the wall. Here we go for 30 seconds. Chest press. So if you are back against the wall, that's just to limit your back movement, because we don't want to be moving our back as we push the dumbbells. We just want our hands extending out in front of us. Good. Moving into our row. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. 30 seconds. So I want everyone to focus on a strong, flat back. It doesn't have to be perfectly parallel. Just a little bit of a hinge. Should feel a stretch in the hamstrings if you're doing it properly. Should feel your glutes working, pushing your heels down into the ground if you're doing it properly. And we're pulling from our elbows, Back into our chest press, 30 seconds. So really focus on the extension. If it's too easy, open up the palms and you're doing the same exact thing, but now your pinkies are touching and just your pinkies. The other one is a neutral grip. More advanced is a supinated palms up grip. Good. Back into our row. Here we go. 30 seconds for our row. So remember, we're rowing the weights up, right? Back row, pulling from our elbows. So hands are hooks. I don't want you focusing on getting your hands to your hips. I want you focusing on getting your elbows up behind your back. Because there's many ways to get our hands to our hips, but not a lot of ways to get our elbows bent behind our back. Good, back into our chest press. Round number 3. This will be our last round before moving into our shoulder superset. Good, so really extend, come back in. Remember the advanced version, palms up, pinkies touching, and you can always put your back against the wall to really limit that movement backwards. Back into our row, last exercise, last round. Row, 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 there we go. Perfect, pulling from the elbows. Remember, we're hinging at the hips. If you're doing it properly, should feel a stretch in your hamstrings. And then the rest of the movement is coming from the elbows. Good and done. We're gonna move into our shoulder superset to finish. One more time, shoulder superset is gonna be our shoulder press. So you can either keep it just straight up and down, or you can make it a little more advanced. Down and in, out and up. Down and in, out and up. One thing to note, we don't need to have our elbow in line with our shoulder. If anything, it can be a little bit in front as we push up. If we come back or even too far back, it's just a little bit of a compromising position. You might feel some pain there. So just as you open up, you don't need to come all the way to the side. Just open up and push up. And then we're gonna superset that with our lateral raise. Remember, with the lateral raise, we wanna try to keep our thumbs either at a neutral position or a little bit of a downward point. They don't have to be all the way thumbs down, but you're bringing the thumbs a little bit down, just a little bit down. Focusing on pulling your pinky up to shoulder level, pulling the pinky up to shoulder level, perfect. And if any of those movements you're unable to do, whether it's pushing overhead or coming out to the side, you can just switch it and modify it into an upright row. If you are gonna do the upright row, make sure your elbow is always above your wrist. So a lot of times you'll see people try to bring their hands up to their chin and their elbows almost come parallel or come down below their wrist. We wanna make sure our wrists stay under our elbows. So pulling from the elbows, not from the hands, pulling from the elbows. All right, shoulder superset, starting in 10 seconds. Let's get ready here. I'll show it what it looks like with a band for the first part. Getting into the pressing portion. Here we go. Shoulder press. So I'm showing it with the band, so if you guys ever want to do this at home, you'll know exactly what to do if you want to try the band. I'd say going up in weight is a little less challenging than adding in the band. The band is constant tension the entire time. So it can get pretty challenging, so if you ever want to try that, you can try that. Into our lateral raise, lateral raise. Out to the side, good. We just need to come up to our shoulders. We don't really need to go too much higher, just right up to shoulder level and back down. Good, perfect. Halfway done. Round number 1, exercise number 2, and you can always modify any of these into our upright row. Just make sure elbows are above the wrist. Back into our shoulder press. Good. And if you are using the dumbbells and you wanna make it into an Arnold press, getting a little bit of our rear delt involved, you're coming out, up, down, and in. Remember, shoulders staying a little bit in front, or elbow in front of the shoulder. We don't need it perfectly out to the side. Perfect. lateral raise. Here we go. 30 seconds. If the weights or the bands become too challenging, you can just go body weight. You can definitely still feel this with just using your body weight. Good. Or if you do want to try to keep using the weights here, bend at the elbow a little bit and really focus on getting your elbow up to your shoulder level, creating a smaller lever, less energy needed. Here we go. Last round, shoulder press. Last 30 seconds for our shoulder press. Keeping ourselves in a good, uncompromising position. Elbow in front of the shoulder, pushing straight up. Probably can't rotate if you're using a band, so you'll just have to come straight up and down. But if you got dumbbells, you're free to rotate as you push up. Good. Last set, into our lateral raise. Last 30 seconds of our lateral raise. Keeping our hands a little bit in front of our hips and our shoulders. A little bit of a thumbs down, but not too much. And we don't need to come right out to the side. That's a little bit more compromising, so we're gonna keep you guys in a safe position with the hands a little bit in front, a little bit of a thumbs down, and finish. Great job. Done with our shoulder portion. Let's move on into our core portion for today. Go ahead and grab some water before we begin. Set up the camera, as you can see. All right, getting ready for our core portion. Meet me down on the ground here. I'm gonna set up our timer for today. All right, so we've got two parts. First part will be our core warm-up and then get into our core challenge. They're both pretty challenging today, but I think it's something that we can get through as long as we get through it together, right? So we'll get started. The first two, I'll send over what the core looks like so you guys can take a look, but pretty simple in terms of exercise selection. So the first one, so we'll be doing 1 and 2 to start, and then 3 is its own thing. It's our challenge portion at the very end. 1 and 2, Russian punch. So instead of just twisting side to side like we're used to, now we're just gonna be punching. So you're just focused opposite hand to the opposite side, and you're just punching across your body. If you wanna use dumbbells, you can, but try with just your body weight first, and then you modify or make it more advanced by bringing your feet up. Try those first before you add in any sort of dumbbell punching. So we'll probably lay off on the dumbbells. Maybe if we do this in the future, as you guys get better, we'll add the dumbbells. Let's just make it body weight for today. And then the second one is gonna be our flutter kick. So we're gonna come back onto our back. Oh, sorry, we changed this. It's not flutter kick. We're going into our reverse crunch. So we're reverse crunching. We can either go full reverse crunch all the way in, or halfway crunch all the way in. Halfway in or full in. All right, so those two, we're going 30 seconds for part 1, 30 seconds for exercise 1, 30 seconds exercise 2, and then just repeat. So we're resting at the very end before we start the core challenge. Sound good to everyone? So a little bit of endurance work today for those. Perfect. And we'll add...
Do you have an alternative instead of doing the, I think you called it the crunch, coming in? I'm trying not to squeeze my midsection. Do you have an alternate instead of that?
Yeah, so you're talking about the crunches. So what you can do, get into our dead bug position, and you can go alternating dead bug from here. Or if you just want to focus on your lower portion, that way there's no squeezing in also, you can go both legs, extend out and in, and you can even add in the arms into the full extension, and then when you come back in, you're just starting right back at our dead bug position.
Great.
Sound
okay,
good?
Thank you so much.
Perfect. And so, Karen, I'll go over it real quick for you. We got our Russian punch, which is side to side punching like our Russian twist. And then we've got our reverse crunch, either our full crunch or our half crunch or our dead bug extension. So we'll get started here in 10 seconds, 30 on for both exercises, no rest until the very end. Starting with our Russian punches. Here we go, 3, 2, 1, and begin. So start with your feet on the ground first. If it starts to get too easy, that's when you lift the feet and you're punching. You're punching side to side. So it's one hand at a time. Good. One hand punching out to the side. Right next to your hip, right next to your thigh. Good. We're gonna move back into our reverse crunch. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Extend out. And then all the way back in. Or you can do the half crunch, starting halfway, back in. Halfway down, all the way in. Or we've got our dead bug extension. Full extension or alternating extension. Good. Moving back into our Russian twist in 3 seconds. Back up onto our butts, into our half-seated position. And we're moving side to side. Punch in here, side to side. Good. Extending one hand out to the side, opposite hand, opposite thigh. You can even practice your breathing here. Breathe out as you punch. Good. Into our reverse crunch. Here we go. If you want to practice your breathing with the reverse crunch, you're breathing out as you bring the knees into your chest, and you're breathing out as your knees come out. And if you are doing the reverse crunch, try to point your toes as you fully extend. No toe point needed for the dead bug extension, but you can also add that if you want. Good. Back up onto our feet. Onto our butts, sorry. Feet down on the ground. Russian twist. Side to side. Round number 3, exercise number 1, halfway done. 3, 2, 1, back onto our backs to finish off round 3. Into our reverse crunch. Trying to keep our hands to our side. Halfway done. Breathing out as the legs go out. Sorry, breathing out as the legs go in. Breathing out as the legs go, breathing out as the legs go in. Back up into our Russian twist. Side to side. This is our last round, round number 4. And then we're gonna have our big break after we finish the reverse crunches. So extending the arm to the opposite thigh. There we go. Into our reverse crunch. Here we go. Breathing out as you come in. Even for the reverse, even for the dead bug extension. Good. Finishing up here, we're done in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. So you guys stay down on the ground. We're gonna rest here for about a couple minutes. As we're resting, I'll kind of go over what the core challenge is for today. So to be honest, we finished 75% of the core challenge. This first part was pretty challenging, more challenging than what I've scheduled in for the past, but doesn't mean that the second part here is going to be any easier than last week. A little different, but not necessarily easier. We're building you guys up in terms of endurance and core strength. So we're going to get into our last part here to finish off class, and it's going to be a fun one. So what it is 10 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest for 10 rounds, and you're picking which one you want to do. So we've got our dead bug extension, holding that for 10 seconds, and then resting, doing that 10 times. Or we're coming up into our high plank, going for 10 seconds. Or we can go down into a low plank. Or if you want to make it more advanced here in the low plank, you can add the seesaw back and forth for 10 seconds. All right, so those are the ways we're gonna finish off our challenge. Give everyone about 1 more minute. I think we can start right at 12:45 and be on time with our class still. So once that hits, we'll begin what we have laid out. So I would get ready into position. 10 seconds, 10 on, 10 off, 10 rounds. So we're going quick. Shouldn't take more than 3 minutes to complete here for today. All right, so get into position. I'll count you guys down from 10 here. Here we go in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and begin. First round, 10 seconds. Holding yourself up. If you're in either plank, active plank, and rest. So active plank just means pulling your hands down to your feet without actually moving your hands. Back in round number 2, here we go. 10 seconds. Good, hold in that position. Halfway done. And rest. Goes by quick, 10 seconds goes by quick, whether we're doing something or we're resting. Round number 3. Here we go. Good. And rest. Good job. Moving in. Round number 4. These are going quick today. Going quick. And begin. And rest. Right down into our resting position. Getting ready to be active again for round number 5. Here we go. Active plank position, pulling your hands down towards your feet or pulling your elbows down towards your feet, and rest. Woo, halfway done. Moving into round number 6. Made it up to the top. It's all downhill from here. Here we go. And rest. Good. Ready to begin. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Round number 7. Round number 7. Here we go. And rest. Good job. Round number 8, starting in 5 seconds. And begin. Good. And rest. Good. 2 more, and then we're done. Round number 9 coming up. Here we go. And rest. Last one, last 10 seconds. High plank, low plank, whatever modifier you added. Let's finish strong. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and done. Great job, everybody. Done with our challenge for today. Great job getting through that. Let's move back onto our backs. Let's bring both knees into our chest. And while we're here, start breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Breathing deep into your stomach. Good. You can move side to side, massage your spine very gently, and make sure you're on a soft surface if you're gonna do this. Good. Keep on holding onto your right knee. Left leg comes down to the ground. Really push your left heel down into the ground as you pull your right knee towards your chest. Still breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Rotate your ankle clockwise and counterclockwise. Good. And let's switch over to our left knee. Pulling it in, right heel push down into the ground. Breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Rotating our ankle clockwise and counterclockwise. Good. From here, let's move on over onto our stomach. Flip on over onto our stomach. Hands by our chest and just pushing our upper body off the ground. Stretching out our abs. If you get any pinching sensation in your back, you can just move right along into sitting your hips onto your heels. And now everyone, let's sit our hips back onto our heels. Try to make sure your toes are untucked. Still breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Good. Let's come up into tabletop. We're gonna thread the needle, threading our right hand through. Coming down, adding some body weight. And then you can manipulate this further by moving your hips back and forth, finding a place where the stretch feels good and holding it there. Now remember, I'm filming my portion to put on YouTube, so I already have some on there. So if you miss any workouts or any parts of a workout that you really enjoy, they'll be up on there. I'll send over the link again, but if you just type in Alan Yee on the YouTube search bar, it should pop up first. And there's a whole playlist of these videos that I'll be working on. Let's go thread the needle to the other side now. Same thing, adding some body weight. Moving your hips till you find a good stretch for your shoulder and lower back. Good. Now let's move into our butterfly stretch. Feet clasped together, pushing our knees down to the ground, actively focusing on pushing our knees down to the ground without using our hands. You can pull yourself in towards your feet too, bringing your chest to your heels. This will work the inner thigh. Good, and let's move into a right hamstring stretch. So just straighten out your right leg, reach for your ankle or your toe. Pull yourself in. Good, and switch. Over to the other side. Good, and let's finish off here. Find a comfortable seated position. Hands can rest anywhere in your lap. String attached to the crown of your head, pulling you up towards the ceiling. Nice upright seated posture. Good. Closing our eyes, we're gonna go 3 breaths. 3 seconds in, 3 second hold, 3 second out. So here we go, in through the nose, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Last one, inhale, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Great job, everybody. When you open up your eyes, you'll be done with today's Wednesday's class. Happy hump day, making it through.